towards Booga now, though. As pressure begins to set in. It's just game number 4 here.
Nothing worse than running with a grey pump in game outside of running with a grey lever. I'm actually interested to see what Booga has in inventory, because usually if you're tarping like Booga is, you're usually giving the shotguns, the better shotguns, down to the players playing at the back of the tarp like Jukes. So unless Booga has like a grey pump, then I don't know. But we must say Booga's been fragging out.
Look at this highlight here. Sit down, Bryce. As Frisk finds a massive shot there. And keep in mind, that's our first place team, guys. We're hinting how Booga, Miro, and company can go ahead and sneak their way on up. Look at this. In the zone still. Going back.
Heading further in.
Wait, this is terrible. Oh, no.
These are current leaders right now. Creo's team jumping straight in. Rogue Shark picked up. Knight starting to tick away. Creo at the same time picked up 3 eliminations. 3 free eliminations at that for Frisk, but they've lost visuals. Now that's 6 eliminations total. They've had 2 full trio wipes in the back of the storm. I'm not really sure what the play was there. The reboot's going to come through. Potentially, they heard the reboot. They saw the reboot. Either way, I'm not launch padding deep into zone as a full trio to try and pick up eliminations. We know how that was going to end up working out, but for us, they managed to get visuals back in it. They have a launch pad there. It could be risky trying to get back into the zone, but they should be okay. Whereas we go over to Booga, Miro, and Jukes, who are now below the threshold. While it's active, getting tagged, 4 players still need to go down.
Oh my gosh, and unfortunately for Miro, that he could not find the angle there to find the tags. Just a few would have been a difference. And there it is, another major key player down as Dukes is going to fall. Booga is just about to be up next. If he can't get a heal off, there it is. A big pot is going to come through, but the clock is ticking here, ladies and gentlemen. Our leaders in the space right now of Miro, Booga, and Dukes, our second place holders, are about to fall to Storm Surge in another tick. If he cannot get a heal off here, as Booga seems to already have popped his med kit. No, he is fully down. He's on his knees essentially here. This is it.
Oh,
Miro's gone. Oh. They are out of the lobby. And just like that, we see them fall early for the first time. Titans can bleed.
I mean, this is opening up so much. We already saw Osp team also deep into the storm too. So they're potentially not going to have a huge game. Slacks, Acorn, Jack also getting tagged up big time while overpeaking a little bit. Their materials starting to, their heals starting to dwindle away here. And this is really opening things up. Cobalt, Spark, and Diminished, AV, Demar, Edan, Slam, DK, and Chucky are all able to get into the position. But look, first awesome visuals in Storm with tons of materials, tons of heals. They've managed to get away with what was probably one of the worst rotates I've seen in a long time.
And it's crazy because had it been a different zone, they'd be in probably 5-tick territory. So like it'd be such a different story, but things just worked out for them. It just so happened to be very, very close to the risky reels there, which allowed for them to have a relatively smooth rotate on in, and no one noticed them. They stood under the radar, just a rarity across the board. Here comes the marker to reveal the next zone. They understand where they have to get to, and it looks like they are back in this game. Somehow back in this game, and the fact that second place is down now, they have the opportunity to really build a big lead here.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're going to falter anytime soon. They're doing really well placement wise, every single game being in the top 10. This game looks like it's not going to be any different, especially that lucky 4th zone pool for AV, Demar, and Eden. Looking good on the materials, looking good on the loot. But a rough rotate to make with a lot of pressure starting to come on through. They're currently our 4th place team, as you can see on the far left. They're going to try and get tags on the players up above. Fighting at the far side of the 4th zone when they got to rotate. I think all players in this know that this is a rough one. They're going to hit the Chili Chug Splash. Thankfully, they have the slipstream to get them through, but will there be any teams with their eyes on the prize, which is their eliminations? AV lands, hits the 68. With 86. Cool team starting to get into an engagement now. Zlem on the other side of the wall. AV trying to replace to the ramp. He gets one in. They've not been chunked up big time. That would have been really good refresh for them, given they have 58 builds so far. But unfortunately, the shots are minimums.
There it is. He's trying to rotate on in. Now getting the pressure from Stretch Sensitive and Commandment from the other side of the wall here. That's not too good. No, he's going to start backing up. Also, Jamper and Day. They have angles here from the side as well. They're below the surge potentially here. Yes. Well below the surge right now. Oh,
Our top
they're not going to
team's
give
really
it up.
struggling today in this game in particular, right? A lot of things are going to change up on the leaderboard big time, I would suspect. Outside of Off's team, who's sitting in a good spot, if we see AV go down, even if we don't see this team go down now, look at the materials. 21 builds, mainly just brick left remaining. I'm sure the teammates Deemer and Edan don't have much else. So for them, this is going to be rough. They're going to need to go for some sort of refresh. Maybe not a box dive at this moment, but yeah, they're starting to get focused yet again. They're down to wood, down to brick. Just trying to stay in it as long as they can. The chili chug splash pop. They're going to have to start moving. Ackerman's right next to them. Could jump into the box. No, they can try and establish up on high, but I think they're going to be dropped down into someone else's box. Could be Ackerman's. AV starting to get tagged up. He's got 9 builds left. Their zone's still pulling on him. And he's going to get into the back of the tarp. Will he be able to hit something? Donnie's right on the other side of the ramp. He's walked right past him.
Oh, no.
He's gotten hit in the back. He didn't. The minimum's missed. No, he's connected to shot. Is that the knock? Yeah, it is, but Bully's trying to ramp face in the box. He's in, and AV's down. Eden's down. Deemer's down. Our 4th place team is going to start climbing down the leaderboards after this game.
They tried, but it's not going to be enough there as he gets sniped down and cut out of the lobby. Top placing teams falling one after another. Meanwhile, Osp, Visuals, and Frisk are still in this game. I saw Osp alive just on the peripheral there, just on the outskirts. Sneaks his way on in. What a game so far, as things are really going to start to change here. I mean, if you're Sensei, Commandment, and Stretch, you're happy. You're excited that these top teams are falling, but it's still in the hands of Osp, Visuals, and Frisk. Finally now, they get taken out, though, to the hands of Slacks, Acorn, and Jack. So, Osp was alive by himself, barely holding on, and now he is also out. This is going to really open things up for everyone else now in the standings.
Yeah, we got a quick update. Our top 4 teams are all down in this game. 5th team still in this, which is Lem, TK, and Chucky. Slack, Acorn, Jack, you're watching right now, is in 6th. And they're in this too. So this team alongside Lem's team, you got to be watching out for to make sure they're going to start catching up. I'm going to manage to get a supply drop in their box. That's going to be a guaranteed launch pad. See Tragic's team also right next to them. A lot of the top teams. I'm interested, honestly, just to see what the leaderboard looks after this.
Leaderboard's definitely going to change here, and we're going to see some familiar faces up at the top if Jack, Slacks, and Acorn continue to play the way they are right now. Seems like they're finding their stride here in the late half when it matters most. It's a team that definitely tends to turn online when it does matter. Big pickups here. Elite's Cease and Cold, though, also holding on by a thin margin here. Elite is by himself now. Has he done enough? Does he have enough tags here? There's a full trio next door. Look at the silhouette through the builds there. One false move and he'll get sniped down. Has to be careful.
Did say this is probably going to be a rough one for them. They had that late rotate and it's unfortunately ended up being that way. They managed to pick up 5 eliminations as they went, up to 81 points total, so they're still climbing the leaderboards. They got to think there's some of the other teams still in this. Lem's team and Slack's team going to do more. Want to see what Elite can do as a solo. He has the pad. Up on high ground, Clarity G's team still in this with Casker and Nittle. A recent swap in the teams. They're in 15th, very middling on the leaderboard, in the best position. They pulled the first moving zone. They're going for the sprays down below. They're set up for a victory royale so much. No one can pad up onto the height that Clarity G's on. He's on such a good layer. They just got to make sure they can claim it at the front side too.
Clarity G on high ground. Nittle and Casker here. 2 eliminations. This could be a massive game for them. If they can pull home a victory royale and a couple more eliminations, they will be sitting up inside that top 5 position potentially here. Remember, 1st and 2nd place being completely out is completely up for grabs now. It's very much a realistic position that's put in front of them here. Can they reach out? Can they grab this opportunity they've been given?
We're going after the beam of the players at the back. They're hitting the pad. They scuffed the pad. Who is this? Which players is this? We weren't able to hit that properly. Nittle's managed to hold all the way up onto height. The first moving seems to be there with Clarity up on the ultimate high ground. Down below, Slacks, Acorn, Jack. Still in this, but no, they've lost Jack actually, but they're still looking up. They're going to shoot out the ultimate height team, which we know is Clarity G so far. They're going to keep tarping on. And are they going for a height as a duo? No. They're going to be hitting that launch pad. These must have been the players who were sitting in the back of the zone who got beamed, and that would have been slacked down. They're going to make sure they claim that low ground, see what they can pick up. But as a duo, this is going to be so rough, and they've lost Slacks as well, so it's all down to Acorn as a solo. He's spotted the player, he's dropped him down, but no, he's chunked Acorn back in return. 8 HP to his name, but he's going to have to pop up the minis. Still 41 builds, but they're all wood, so he's going to get fully focused if he gets boxed up here. That floor is not his. He cannot sit on that box.
Acorn by himself, almost top 10. He can see it in his distance there, but he has to stay alive. He has to stay up and running. This med kit's going to be the difference maker to definitely give him the confidence here to be able to pull home the clutch. 18 builds, 12 builds now, gets behind an opponent. The sound wasn't there, but he hears it at the very end. The floor break comes through. The gas and the switch up there. He goes back for the fight. Beautiful shot, and Acorn is alive here. He puts down Peterbot, who arguably has one of the best reaction speeds that we have seen to date in recent times. But Acorn is showing him, hey, I'm wearing the crown today.
Yeah, he's looking more like edgy with that kind of reaction speed so far. Aegon still in it as a duo. 2 eliminations to his name. He's going to pop the medkit now. He's gone from 12th as a duo, and he's clutched up till 9th place so far as a solo. This medkit play potentially can take him even further into the zone. We saw down on low ground, Sentence team having a fantastic game, still being a full trio, claiming the front side of zone. The classic playstyle we see from Sentence Command and Edgy, but for Aegon, it's pumps out, it's angles held, it's every shot connected, hopefully, and will he potentially even play the medkit here? He looked like he was taking a tag. The 40 comes through onto the pre-fire onto the wall. This launch pad not going to take him anywhere. I'm wondering if he wants to take that zone tick to go down to 90 HP so that he can then play this medkit. Yeah, there it is. He's going to potentially go for the medkit here. This might be the right time, but no, he has his own builds to work through. He has his own space. He's trying to cut things through. Still top 9. Not a single team goes down. Muzz goes down in the feed, though. Down to top 7 teams. So he's clutching so many points.
Oh no, the false medkit there though. He makes a mistake and now he has to get ahead here, buy himself some more time. Can he do this effectively here? It looks like he is just in the right position to go ahead and get this medkit off. Now the later he can pull it, the better, but he has definitely put himself in a risky position. Mars is right above him. They're gonna get caught out. Onto his lair he goes, but he does not find the shots. He gets shut down. Commandment and crew also get completely taken out. High ground still being held here by Clarity, Niddle, and Casker. They are looking for the win on the low. Justice Uses and Skittles are still in this game here. Keep them in the story. Keep them on your top of your minds, because now at 90 points, they are surely breaking into the top positions.
I think so. The team on height, who are usually there, down on the low ground. Ackerman still in the mid ground. It seems to be as a full solo. He's going up, hits the 108 onto the player. I think that's Casker up on the height. He's got the wall, but no, the shots come back. Ackerman now picked up to Clarity G. It's a 3v2 situation up on the height. Clarity G, Nils, Casker going down, but the sprays come out. The drop down, the 190 comes through. The max damage shot. It's a 3v1 situation. And wow, all over. Nil, Clarity G, and Casker are going to pick up the victory in game number 4.
One of the most veteran trios to ever do it. Clarity, Niddle, and Casker, the kings of Retail Row, clap back now for a 6 elimination victory royale in a clean, dominant fashion as well. They got high ground and never looked back.
Never looked back, indeed. They claimed it so early. They had such a good control over from there, and they picked up the eliminations. You saw the harpoon drop down below to ensure they could keep getting those materials back, and that's why they were just able to hold it for so long. Great play for them all just to drop down at the end, make sure they could capitalize on the numbers advantage they had, and look, the victory royale is, and I'm sure, again, I said this mid-game, I'm interested for the leaderboards.
But it's a heartbreaking situation for our top 4 teams that were taken out nice and early there, giving the opportunity to everyone else. And we saw how many points Ackerman had. He jumped way on up. So we're going to toss it over to Zeke to get us the final update.
Thank you guys so much. Fantastic game at number 3, or 4 rather, excuse me, out of NAE. So I know we haven't had a chance to look at the standings. So let's take a lot of time to talk through this together. Okay, we got to set the stage with 2 games left to go. There's a lot of things to talk about. We're going to start at the very top, right? Os Visuals and Frisk currently in that number 1 spot, but right behind them, you've got Zlem, TK, and Ackerman. We just watched Ackerman in that last game, right? He placed there in, I believe, top 3, if I remember correctly, Vivid, and that's how they were able to jump up the leaderboards.
Yeah, they took advantage right there of the fact that our previous top 4 before that game had went out pretty early, did not actually make it into the end game right there. Regardless of that happening, though, Awesome Visuals and Frisk, very surprising there that they actually held their lead, but that just speaks to how big of a lead that they actually had. But as you can see, with them going down, though, that top 10 got a lot closer, right? 10th place there in Scented, Stretch, and Commandment being at 83 points.
Yeah, a lot of teams here, though, still managing to kind of get a lot of points on the board. I can see that Aegis, Saf, and Canada, my pick, has snuck its way into the top 20 there. Only 7 eliminations, but a lot of placement points, so still kind of in contention. But, I mean, you said it yourself, Ackerman there getting 8 eliminations on his own, propelling them to the top 4, I think it was there, which is exceptional to see. And this is only game 4, as we keep saying, but at this point in the competition, it's interesting to see how teams are playing, whether it's passive, whether it's aggressive. 2 games to go today. This is a chance to really make a stand now.
That's right, and of course we keep the competition going of the top 4 falling early, right? So that's the Sundown's proverbial shoop happening where the top and the bottom of these lobbies start to kind of scrunch back down and catch up to each other. Bugha falling super early. You know, Vivid, it feels a little uncharacteristic. I'm not sure what decisions they made that kind of let them in this position. Of course, you can't see on the right side of your screen that they are below Storm Surge, rather. So something misfired here in this game, and they really couldn't get anything going.
These lobbies so far have been absolutely stacked. I mean, there is like almost nobody going down in the early game, so you are getting a plethora of players, almost like 90 players going into every single one of these first Storm Surges that we have seen, so it's causing people to act a little wild, so you can't really expect any of these players to consistently find Storm Surge every single game. So I think Bugha and them going down right there isn't something that they necessarily have to worry about, right? They just go with the same game plan into the next game. The Storm might be a little bit different, might shift a little bit to a different side of the map where the rotations are a little bit different, and that their game plan will work. They're just unfortunate that they're in that game it didn't work.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, you make a great point. I think sometimes the game plan works, sometimes it doesn't. Game 3, it did work. We saw Mira go all the way through to, I think, the top 5 or 6 teams. Managed to get those standings points for the team. They tried it again in that game. It's surprising because they could see a lot of teams in and around them in that situation, but chose to try and just heal off, trying to survive the Storm Surge when I think you've got to go for tags in some situations. That felt like one of those situations where you're going on blind faith, really, just hoping that someone else out on the lobby is going to go down before you can continue on and go unnoticed, undetected. But in that situation, they played it badly. But we know these guys can come back, and I'm sure they will do in the next game for sure.
Yeah, this is just your old worrisome Zeke out here. I'm just trying to think through all these things, right? Making sure that people can find the Storm Surge tags where they can. So I'm really just trying to spark up this conversation. Of course, we know Bugha and company are some of the greatest to hit the lobby, but I just worry a lot, okay? I got to make sure I bring up this conversation so they can think through these things, and then hopefully we see these improvements made in the next game, but don't worry about it, all right? Tomorrow is double points, so right now it's just about where can we end the day and prepare for tomorrow. The battle bus has beep, which means we're jumping on board. We've got MDF, we've got Reese. They're standing by for game number 5 of the Grand Royale.
It's crazy to think about that. You know, for players to find a perfect set of games, it just doesn't happen very often. We only saw it in recent times for, I'd say, Teak on EU just recently. And you know what? That's the kind of the truth of it, right? For Bugha and company there, Miro and Dukes. Zeke asked a question. Why weren't they able to kind of figure it out? What went wrong? But the truth is, it's hard to have those games as consistent as we see them do.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's funny you bring up Teak, because for Kamisei, Teak guys sat down and spoke to their coach Ven, and the way that they approach a 12-game format is literally every game at a time, right? We go next. If we do really well, we keep the mentality calm. We don't celebrate too much. And the same thing, if we do really bad, we don't beat ourselves up about it so much. So for them, like, they're doing super well, doing consistent every single match, mainly based on mentality and obviously game plan and the fact they're just amazing players. For Miro's team, it seems like, you know, when I watch the game plan, it's not all dialed in at the same time, right? They just don't have that same edge that often I see from guys like Kamisei and Teak.
Yeah, it's that different level of caliber that you can just tell is a standout, especially when it comes down to preparation, right? And just overall performance. But getting back into things here for Pump, Mega, and Dubs now. A little bit of an alpha drop for Muzz and crew. They try to take big main this time around. So playing for more and more of the POI, it seems like.
Yeah, they got their drop map open for this one. They're making sure they get the good drop. But yet again, seems like all the teams end up splitting. Seems like a messy fight so far. Dubs with 6 builds. Yoji getting tagged from afar from the drop from a distance. That's going to dwindle away some of his precious minis that are so important in these kind of quick early... Oh, I shouldn't say quick, because these can last a long time, but these scuffed early engagements. They've managed to control main. Now we already know we can counter the strats, because we know Rocade knows how to counter them, which means we know how At the same time, Dubs and Mega clearly know how to counter them too. So we're probably going to see some Fireflies again, maybe some gas cans come out, maybe to burn the buildings down to knock them out, but even potentially a disengage from the old Dubs and Mega here.
Yeah, Josie Rokin and Muzz are basically the brick wall, and Dubs and Mega are the speeding car. Like, it's just not going to work out for any of the two sides. They're going to collide and hit a dead stop, and that's really what's been happening so far here today. Dubs and Mega are coming on up, though. Nice harpoon for defensive measure there.
Good, missed every shot, unfortunately, though. Didn't manage to get the follow-up from it.
It's not much to work with.
Down height. Nothing. 0 builds, quite literally. They're just going to get up on height, go for the potential to just stick the pacing right together, see if we can jump straight into the box, maybe. With no builds, that's just what you got to do. One of the most difficult parts of these early game engagements, but the shot's going to come through. Muzz down to almost 1 HP. I'm sure Pump's going to start climbing through. Pump's got that beautiful aim. Who's going to connect the shots? He's going to pop the med kit. So much more HP on the team down below with minimal materials still. They're just trying to play the angles, play the right hand peaks. The chop out comes down. Pump starts to go up. He's going to place the walls in between. He's blocked his angles. He's blocked his shots. He's chopped down. He's run out of materials now. Muzz also getting chunked. Slowly jump in the box. Muzz down to almost no HP. Pump's just spraying in. That's Muzz down. The 98 shot starts to connect. He's getting tagged up from the player up above. It's Rocaine. Rocaine starts to fight back at the same time, but no, Pump's going to be able to clean that one up. 2 for him, 1 for Dubs. And this is just going back and forth, but for Pump, 12 points for their team so far at the start of game number 5. I know day 2 obviously is double points, but they are so far behind so far.
Yeah, and none of them are playing very well as far as after they make it out the drop. I mean, last game was a bit better. Muzz and company, you can see that they at least are up to the, a decent positioning with the double placement. But just look at this. Dubs, Mega, and Pump, they make it look easy this time around. Doesn't seem like the aggression really worked off or panned out for Muzz and crew. They're getting dropped very early. Gonzo, Dom, and Chimp also having a difficult time today. I don't think we've brought them up not a singular time in the broadcast.
Game 2 at the start, we did.
Is that what it was?
We watched this fight, remember. We saw the messiness that was here where 2 teams are fighting over and over again. The one elimination they've got here is their first point on the board. They were talking a lot of smack about this drop spot, right? They were all over social media hyping up their skills against Scope, Blake's team. And so far, it's not going so well. Let's put it that way.
It's rough. Very, very rough for the mental, especially with the way the format works. I mean, you have to think deep down in your mind, like, hey, we can still absolutely come back. And mind you, it's not just about first place. Like, second and third, that money, that prizing is insane. So the entire top 10, I mean, it means so much. And for the Grand Royale here, there's a lot to be earned and said about any team that can stay consistent and fight through the 2-day format.
And one team definitely can do that is Booga's team they're watching right now. Every single member on this has won an FNCS in a different season, which is a crazy thing. Obviously, Booga won the previous one with Miro. Miro won in Season 4 and Season 6. And then Jukes won alongside Users and Justice in Season 7. So all of these players have won an FNCS at different times. Last season, obviously, 2 of them were together. That's why I talk about an all-star team. Usually, all-star teams don't really work out so well. But a lot of times, definitely in the last season when it was Muzz instead of Jukes, they were definitely carried by their just individual skill and the firepower. I'm not saying they didn't work together as a team, but like I said earlier, they didn't have the most clear and concise strategy like some of these other top teams do. And that'll make them go down in some of these earlier games, but we'll see some great solo clutches, some great pop-offs like we already have. That second game where we saw, obviously, Booga take 8 or 9 eliminations was absolutely incredible, and you just can't talk enough about the skill of these players.
We almost saw a full-on face check there into Buggy's trio, but things are going to slow down. Frisk, Ops, and Visuals getting active already after the disappointing fallout in the last round there. They have a lot to fight back for, as they've given the actual opportunity for the rest of the lobby to go ahead and close the gap here now. Consistency being the name of the game here. Most importantly, like we talked about, is finding a good footing here in day 1 and just basically make it through day 2. Stay consistent. Don't fall on day 2. Earn points. Everything is doubled up. If you fall early, it is going to be, I'd say, a catalyst effect to set you back.
And it will be. We'll see how they play it out. They're obviously looking for tags. They're looking to get aggressive. They're going for the triple sprays now. See, they're not looking in the best position yet again. They've obviously previously in this spot, they've taken this exact hill in previous games that we've seen. A very popular spot on the NA East region. They're not in here with the best materials. Usually we're seeing them with almost cap mats. Steel's looking absolutely fantastic. See the 3 box here of our current top 3 teams. Got in the OSP team first on the very top side. Ackerman alongside Slem and TK on the far left. And Bogamiro and Jukes third place so far with 106 points. Only 19 points difference between first and third. So obviously we're only 4 games out of 12. We're far from the end right now. Definitely some of the top teams starting to take away with it.
I'd say the most important games are still to come because
oh no, they are.
Yeah, today is cool and all, but tomorrow matters. Like tomorrow matters
Definitely.
so much. If any of these teams had their performances today on tomorrow's set of format, I mean, they'd be cruising right now. But it is what it is, and we have a whole day of games to come. So
the players were not too happy about it, but you just have to be super consistent through both of the days. And I did wonder, what if what if the players thought get half points on the first day rather than double points on the second day? Would their mentality change at all regarding what's going to end up happening? Either way, the players have to play to the best of their abilities on both days. Let's be real.
it's funny that you say that. It's the literal same thing, but
It is. That's the point. The whole point is, do you think the mentality would change from the players?
of course it would. It's Fortnite we're talking about, man. It's all about how you shape it up.
It is. The leaderboard again, rocking on the left, like we mentioned, Lost Team 125. Slam TK Ackerman down on 123. Jukes Miro Booga on 106. Then you see a little bit of a drop off. There's a lot of players in that kind of mid 90s so far that we saw pop off in the previous game. They caught up big time. But we're not seeing the top teams dropping out, the top 3 teams, that is, dropping out in this game like we did in the previous. So they could kind of create a larger gap if they start performing like they have in the matches previous.
It's the old, what weighs more, 6 pounds of feathers, or 6 pounds of bricks?
A ton of steel or a ton of feathers?
Oh, man.
But you know there's people out there who'd be like, oh, half points on day 1. That's not so bad.
It's so funny.
I just thought about that. You know, I had a lot of thought thinking about players' mentalities recently. Something that's really, really important. And I don't know why. I've just been thinking about that a lot when I heard the format for Grand Royale. I just thought, I wonder if players would react more positively.
All right. I'm gonna nominate.
If they had the half.
I'm gonna nominate Reese for the editorial team at Epic. Get him in there.
Yeah, no. Anyway, back to Miro, Jukes, and Booga, who are again in the best position. They almost could be right now. Got their tags off relatively early on. EV's team, who we've saw struggle in that previous game, but have had a lot of big pop-offs. Still close to their home, and they're starting to take advantage of Nos, DJN, and Yomzo rotating near them. Hopefully managed to get a good chunk of tags out of that one. See what they have to do after this, though.
Yeah, game 1 and 4 being the most difficult so far for this trio here. The same issues they struggled with in game 1. Storm Surge at 18 minutes, 18 seconds. They went down. Game 4, Storm Surge again, a singular elimination. 18 minutes, 7 seconds. They fall again. So, like, quite literally a mirror of a situation that played out for them. Here and now, Cobalt, Minish, and Spark, they're on the rotate. 93 points, 3 eliminations this game already, setting themselves up for a fairly good game to come if they can just stay alive right now. But they have Plague and Crew playing for the key positioning on this mountain. They don't want to give up the chase here. They are looking to hunt for the tags with that natural high ground. Cobalt's going to have to be careful. They know, though. They're ready.
Let's see what they can do. They won the off-spawn fight in the Weeping Woods. They're 544 above. They're in a great spot because of that. You know, we often talk about the fights off-spawn and how it can hinder you so much, but if you're dominant, if you're winning them so frequently and, more importantly, quickly, man, they can really set you up for a good mid-game. You just have to be able to capitalize on it.
Can I just say, like, respect to Cobalt there. He saw the brick, just like reservoir in the distance, quickly swaps over to brick off the wood. Just little things like that showing that they are He's playing well today. They're playing very, very well today.
Smart play indeed. They're going for the pre-edit play for Frisk Visuals lost now, but Frisk going to be picked up. This is our first place team, losing 1, 2, and now all 3 members. A psycho play for them being below the Storm Surge, and they jumped into the wrong team. It's Cold Elite and Cease, another one of our top 10 teams, currently in 9th place, who just made easy work of a desperate team.
And those are big points now. That's going to jump them up. A 6-point swing here. Booga on the other side in that same position we've seen him in before as well. Storm Surge here being a difficult problem for them. They haven't found the solution. They're barely above right now.
There is a lot of north zones. I'll give them it that there's a lot of north zones, and this is what it comes back to. More teams who would have, I'll say, have a better game plan, a better thorough understanding, and not be as reliant on the pure talent of each individual player, would have already had a plan for these way further north zones and would have put the timings in there to make sure they were in deeper. They're constantly seeing these guys on the edge of zone. This is basically the exact same thing we saw when it was Muzz in the previous season, but obviously they were able to capitalize on that, and this worries me. I'm not gonna lie. They're relying on pop-off games so far, and if this game is anything to tell so far by the way it's going, I'm not too hopeful for the way that the rest of the leaderboards look out in terms of them picking up a first.
Yeah, they have the opposite problem of what Sunset Edge and Commandment had back in the day, where if the zone was on top of Sunset Edge and Commandment, they played terribly. They had more difficult time finding Surge when it was on top of them than it did when it rotated far. Whenever it rotated across the map, they just managed to make it work. Key position after key position. It seems like Boogamiro and Dukes not quite on that same track here. Difference in play style.
I remember that vividly. Vividly remember this because Sentinel's team always had, if it was a far zone, they always had the understanding they needed to rotate far, and they needed to make sure that they got in ahead of people so they could hold people. Unlike what's happening to Booga's team, they're getting held because they rotated later here. They're trying to get into an engagement, trying to fight here now, which is making them desperate, right? This team, however, I will say, will be able to win some of these fights at the edge zone, and that's what they've been able to capitalize on all season.
I was going to say, that's the difference between this team and most others. They have that fighting potential. That probability of success is very high with players like Miro on board.
But imagine, right? Imagine they had this firepower, but they also had the game plan in line. They could be the best, most dominant team out there. I would 100% put money on that.
Should have kept Buzz. Just kidding.
No, it's not an issue with that. It was the same issue when it came to that team as well. They hadn't even practiced that much when they won FNCS. That shows how good they are individually. So just imagine, I always think that when you see teams of this caliber, if I saw them making plays that were consistent with what some of the best in the regions and in other regions are doing, like over and over again, being in zone and to take tags 2 minutes before surge, making sure your early rotates, make sure you're harvesting as efficiently as possible, you know, all these really small little things that add up. If we saw that, man, I'd be scared about how good this team would be.
Absolutely. First Lem, Ackerman, and TK, the team that has also just recently banded together, and talk about a successful tournament event for them. 130 points already in the competition here. TK, who has just been on fire since transitioning from console to the PC track here, proving that, hey, he can do whatever it is that he wants. He's got the skills to prove it as well.
Yep, let's have a look at the quick stat here. As a solo, Chucky took his team from 11th till 3rd in Game 4 and led all players with 22 solo impact points. So if you're unsure what solo impact points are, that's kind of in the title. But it basically is the amount of points that you get for clutching up as a solo. So he's putting in the work for his team so far. Ikeman being Chucky. It's just to avoid confusion. We will call players what they name themselves in game. So we will call Chucky Ackerman. But just for clarity, I know me and you, Monster, both love it when players change their name for huge hundreds of $1,000 tournaments that are broadcasted to tens of thousands of people.
And then watched by millions on YouTube. I mean, it's pretty clear.
On YouTube.
It's pretty clear he wants to be known as his in-game names, you know? So
yeah. Ackerman, which we're gonna
honor.
Continue. You've made the choice to change his name. Every FNCS, every broadcast, we have the same discussion. He has chosen his fate.
AV203 as well, as he's vibing out right now. 96 points. Okay, so they're still holding on. They are still holding on. I mean, that win being the big difference maker for them that has allowed them to sort of propel their way on up. right? They bounced back. They fell early in game 1, bounced back game 2, victory royale in the bag. Look at this congested. Look at this pocket of players sitting on top of one another where there's barely anyone inside the new zone right now to the south of them.
You got to remember, though, look what's in front of them. A large reservoir of water. A vertical elevation change that they're all going to have to traverse to get into that new zone for the teams on the far west-hand side. For Zlem, Ackerman, and I was about to say Zlem again, and TK, they had a relatively free rotate. If you saw on the map, they chose to go a little bit to the east here. Charlie's team able to hold them, however. I think, yeah, if you look at the map, you've seen all those players start to hit the launch pad. They're using them real early. See how TK's team doing. 93 below the surge. They're going to hit a pad to go that far distance. And man, this is not looking good for them. They're going to have to start getting the tags in, potentially having to hit some of those players out the sky who may follow. Yeah, there you go. There they are. If they'd looked back, they might have been able to see the players behind. They knew there was a lot of congestion. Should have been obvious play that there's players going to pad behind you. They meant to put themselves into a good spot, however. Good visibility over the whole area. I don't think they're going to struggle with the tags, but no, Zlem's getting beamed up from behind, leaving a wall open. I'll have to see what they can do from here on out.
It's a great angle to have right now on the lobby as they need the surge and they're hunting for a Scented. Looks like he's going to take a lot of damage in the distance as well. It's not looking too hot for Minish. The Minish gets taken out. The pressure from the double fire here. 2 angles, and a couple of those shots are going to land onto the down bodies. This is big for them, and it's going to set them just above the surge now. As players are falling, there goes the big jump up. Oh, and more tags now. It's a Creo in company there, too.
You've hit the shots that matter. The max distance zone now comes in again. They did manage to get up above the threshold, which is fantastic for them. But yeah, again, this is the same team we saw with a max distance rotating the 5th zone. This seems to be their Achilles heel, making the rotates to 5th. But back over to Miro's team, who are above the threshold. Booga's down. We saw that difficult rotate. The one elimination from Miro picked up a bit of a refresh, getting the materials back on up. They're all back on their feet. They should be okay here as long as they find a way to make this max 5th rotate, potentially from a launch pad. And I think we could see another good game from them because they are actually set up relatively well with their materials. I just hope they make this 5th zone rotate well.
That's what it all comes down to. How good can they actually bounce back right now? Make this proper decision here. Make the rotate count. Let's watch it play out. They definitely have the pads to make work, make do of the lobby. They're going to go with a mega high pad here. Down comes a short dive. And now, looking for where to land. They're on their surge. They're going to land right above. Is this Commandment and crew below them? They have to be careful now, as they are going to have to get active here. They need a single tag. And yes, it is Senta who's down low. Just trying to see if he can tempt them into the edit here. No, they know better.
So we can do. Try not to overpeak. 50 surge starting to drop, but no, they've claimed more. They're up 100 above. They shouldn't do anything crazy here. They're starting to get focusing from Jamper's team at the far side. The adversaries that we saw them going up against in the previous season. First versus second, but the leaderboard not looking so similar on the left. You can see that right now. Awesome team still in first. We know they're down. Slem's team still in this as well. Long
Wood
time
focus.
Yeah, the Wood focus come through onto Budsy's team, who's finally starting to have a good game, and unfortunately seems like a maybe stopped right here by Booga, Miro, and Jukes. This far rotate. They've made it in. Let's see what they can do out of this first moving. Can they overtake the first place? It seems like they might be possible.
Just look at the shots here. Look at the pressure they're putting on the lobby. They're not going to find this
Absolutely. And I love that we try to do math. We will never try to do that again, Adam.
Rubbing it
Remember,
on
Vivid is our mathematician. He is the one. Vivid, what's 33 times 4?
33 times 4. 132?
Oh my gosh.
Maybe?
Legend, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure
That's
you
what I
follow
said. I
at
just got there
Vivid.
later.
That's him right here. Follow him. He's a mathematician, pro player turned analyst, biggest mind in Fortnite. Boom, there you go. You'll love to see it. Okay, this is the last game. Okay, to set the stage going into tomorrow's Grand Royale Finals. Almost said Grand Finals just to shorten it. Let's not do that. But yeah, Fortnite fam, you see the bus. It's ready to go, which means we are as well. One last time in NA East. Reese, India, bring us home.
Really does feel like the day has gone by as quick as a flash here. We're all of a sudden rolling into this final match now, Reese. And just looking at the standings here, Slam TK, they're looking pretty good up top.
I mean, they're chilling after that. Like, obviously, we saw Austin Visuals and Frisk struggle a bit there. Like, they were looking so good in the middle of this tournament, but towards the last couple games, you know, not so good. 19th and then that 29th as well. That was looking rough. The first 3 games all being in the top 10 with the Victory Royale. It seemed like they were off to a fantastic start, but let's be real. 4th overall so far, coming towards the end of day 1 with another game left, with double points left tomorrow. I am really not concerned.
The thing is, the spotlight is absolutely on the top teams that deserve it, but the true issue being is tomorrow's format. Double points means that anyone here can still pop off and honestly come back in a major way. And there's still a ton of top-tier trios holding on to the top 20, like kind of just staying in the conversation here as sleeper picks, if you will.
These are not my sleeper picks so far for Pump Dobbs and Mega alongside Doji's team. Hold on, the fight starting to engage so far. We've watched just every game so far. Pump's team's making easy work of it this time. Unfortunately, this fight's had to happen every game, and it looks like Muzz is wrapped up fast as anything. They're going to have to come back on day 2 with a bit of a better plan than just to contest the Bony Burbs, because it's really not been working out so far for them. It's not been really working out for either team.
What happened? Oh, wiped out? Oh, it's over? Oh, gosh. Okay. 32 teams remain, guys.
My brain went blank for a second there. You don't seem to be really getting into too many engagements, like I already said. Wasn't sure how this would go. How would they fight? Would they, you know, taking tags at each other from Booga's position right here? Not really trying to look back too much. We check back on what happened at Bony Burbs. Pumps just hitting the shots that mattered, and unfortunately just cleaning this up. And like I said, the plan needs to be reevaluated for tomorrow.
You know, every now and again, story arc needs a filler episode. You know, just make sure we keep things going along, keep us in the loop here. What I wanted to talk about was this drop spot. Like, I don't agree with him taking the island so early. I think the more optimal way to play the drop, right, is to get all 3 people in the main POI, clean it out, air it out quickly, and then, because you got to go through that island eventually anyways, right? So that's probably the difference maker, is that they're losing. Who knows? Maybe 30 to like 60 seconds on the drop just by not being able to get inside the main POI.
Depends, because you gotta loot. If you each loot some side on the east side, right? You go from bottom, from south up till north. One person can clean out a houses and sweep that way. One person clean the other. Just remember, you gotta go to the dish as well. There's so much there. If Booga can get set up there on top really early, he can look for tags much earlier whilst the other 2 loot. Which is why we kind of saw him with lower materials in some of the earlier games. The thing is, you're really only going to see Panzer carry Thatch from that position.
Right. That's what I was going to say. There's really not many options. So all I'm saying is I don't know if it's the most optimal strategy, judging from the outside in.
That drop spot, so I cannot tell you. I'm theory crafting in my brain as I try to figure it out as we go along. Let's be real, like I said, there's a lot more efficiencies that team can definitely make. We'll see if the early game being one potentially in the future. Right now, back with Rogue Shark 93 in their drop spot on Stealthy. Blake's team here, because they have been fighting the outside of this every game they can. After the smack attack on Twitter, doing so in the POI itself. Seems like a 2v2 situation. Scope down to almost no HP. 90. No, it's not a 2v2. Inside. Was this actually Ganzo down? Like it is. Just a mess of a fight all around.
Yeah, definitely. And listen, Shark almost had Scope there for a second as he had the ground on fire. And Scope seemingly just runs through it on set ablaze there, but looks like they bounce back. 2v3 situation. Rogue Shark still trying to maintain the aggressiveness that he kind of set the pace here with at the beginning. Knight's caught out by himself. Does have to be very, very cautious not to get dived on, but no, he's got enough distance between him and the opponents, and he is out of gas. No more ammunition to work with. And now comes the disengage. They're going to have to back up. Hopefully, there was enough tags there. And Dom and crew hear the shots in the distance. Is he going to be able to get close enough to hop in is the real question. It seems like he is poking around for info right now.
I'm trying to wonder if Rogue Shark even got that much ammo, because he had like 250 when we first checked in with him. Now he's used so much, which obviously creates so much sound that attracts attention like Dom. You're going to start to hit the disengage. This fight is no longer worth it. I'm not sure if they can get the reboot from Creo. Probably not at this point. They may have to start going somewhere else. Definitely not in that POI. Go back over a little bit to the south here. Okus, Nani, and Dusky, a team that performed really, really well in the previous seasons. I think 5th overall. Right now on 68 points, which is currently putting them kind of 20th in that area after the elimination they got today. So definitely not living up to the pop-off performance that they had earlier in the season. But we'll see. We'll see if they can make it now.
Big fight about to break out here, though. Okus, Nani, and Dusky. One of those few trios, like we mentioned, inside the top 20, trying to hold on to this positioning they've built for themselves. Still very much in the overarching conversation for the tournament win to come, because there are, of course, 6 more games that'll be played out tomorrow where the finals going to break out. It's the last game, though, of the Grand Royale today.
You could almost think of it as 12 games tomorrow.
12 more games tomorrow.
But technically, it's played within 6 since it's double point.
That's the way. I'm telling you, we're going to put you on the team to keep it up.
Yeah, don't. No one needs to do that. Take back in. Not so much up today, down on 40 points. Eco's team alongside Nos. Bit of a rough engagement for them on the south side of the zone. Again, 33 bells at this point in the game is rough. This is the last place you want to be. You want to be captain at this point. 2 minutes before that first zone. Trying to get set up in the best positions, and the BBC Tragic's picking up May. Can't picking up Knights. That fight's going down, and Cole picking up Rogue Shark too. And Nos just struggling here on the edge.
Trying to find some tags here. Pretty desperate. Look at Miro and Dukes already have moved from their draw spot. They're trying to make a move on up. Here it is. Using these slip lines to their benefit. Slipstreams. Oh, look at that. They pull a pretty favorable zone for the opening instances here. The team's going to go ahead and poke out on the distance. Not a good enough exchange there for Boogers. He only finds 1 tag.
Probably Mars W's team down, spawning on that southeast side. Hopefully Boogers team can take advantage of this on their rotates. They're usually a lot of these times fly through the sky using the launch pads there to try and make the way in, or the kind of pads that are on the floor in these corrupted areas. So they may be able to take advantage of that, take the shots out of the sky, but doesn't seem like they're setting up to. They're going to start focusing on the rotate. Yeah, again, another late rotate. Remember, this has been a trend that we've seen very, very commonly with this team so far. 50 seconds before. Usually, as a note, 20 or 2 minutes before the first zone closes. So essentially a minute ago. These teams are in zone, like top teams are in zone, in position, getting tags and like trading off. For Booga, Miro, and Dukes, we always know that these guys are really far behind. And in this positioning is why they always end up taking edge zone fights. And I'm wondering if they're going to be held to by Skittles' team, who's pushed up way further ahead of them. A constant thing we've seen with this team is just being way too far back.
I just want to pump the brakes for a second. Seas, Cold, and Elite are in 2nd place. Under the radar, once again. They have a 3rd place, 13 eliminations last game. just monstrous big games. And then that 4th and 10th, that kind of threw them right back up into the conversation. So what happened there? How it happened? Where it happened? We definitely...
Was I asleep last game or something? How did I not notice that?
He was just going crazy. Too much unfolding. Look at this. 136 points. And they're taking their time right now. Coming out of the Koro Castle.
Yeah, we saw this in one of the earlier games, and I questioned it. The game didn't go that well. I'm wondering, clearly they have some sort of, this is intentional, right? Rotating this late is intentional, which is interesting for Surge purposes. They have one elimination, so maybe they're just getting this way earlier than we think, then coming back here, probably taking advantage of that fight on the east side. But I still want to know how they play around this in terms of the rotations, because they're going to end up being super late to the zone and being held by a lot of people. So maybe they have some really good rotates on board that can kind of counteract that. I know obviously they can use the shadow stones and then hitting the bounce pads here to go really, really far. But I want to see if that's probably just the strat every game. Let's be real.
Yep, that's what it probably just has come down to exactly that. They play really late. They get just big loot. And then they sweep on in. They get themselves a key position. Now, keep in mind, it has not necessarily worked out every time. They have fumbled 2 games, but their comeback stories have been ridiculous. That last game included... and that's the reason they're in the position that they are in. 3rd place, 13 elims.
Pop-off trio.
I just wanted to call that off.
No, that's a good call out, because somehow, I mean, we were obviously caught up last game in the craziness that was going on with a lot of the teams. Like, obviously,
I mean, listen, I was gonna say Acorn went crazy, right? It was worthy of sticking on him, watching the clutch. He pulled up at the very end there, big shots here to keep them inside the top 5. So, you know, you never can really expect the team to do what they're doing as far as the elims go. I mean, we saw it earlier, just kind of started off like, where did Colbo and crew come from with a 14 elimination game, right? These kind of things just happen.
Kind of hit the shots like Brist is right now. Brist, known as one of the best aimers on the region, hit the shots for the right reason here, but Osp has also gone down now. That's 1 elim to their face, a 2v2. The big trade starts to come through, but no, Brist actually managed to miss a bunch of the shots at the same time. He's down to 39, but that's the full wipe coming out. So they're going to scrappy fight for them. Losing Osp again. They're now going to have to figure out a way to reboot him. There's tons of loot here, but I'm trying to figure out where they do this, right? They can't go to the south. You see there's 2 teams boxed up there on the dish. Can't really go to Boney because teams always situate themselves there. Do they go to Weeping? Probably the play.
And the thing is, these last 3 games, they have faced the same exact issues. Storm Surge, Fight 1, game after game has been a bit of a difficult one for the last couple rounds. This time, again, facing the punishment, losing a member. TK and Zlemdo also have to hold it down here. Ackerman on the front side of the walls. He's very healthy. He's going to fight back. He's going to find Young Egan. This is a big fight right now for Young Eden, who has managed to stay up in the standings here up until now. A top 10 team. Where is AV? Where is Deemer? As they get pushed way back here, off the layer, up to the high ground. They don't want to give it up, though. They're getting hunted down now. And there it is. AV gets found out. Deemer will be next here, as Chucky has all the HP in the world. Into the box he goes. Ready for the charge. Oh, no. That's not an edit you want to make.
That's not the one.
Oh, gosh.
That's not the one. I'm guessing 0 materials left on his body. Deemer just said, you know what? Blue lever, you're sizzling the charge. I'm going to just edit in your face. Even a scroll wheel reset would have been the wave there.
Frist tracking was impeccable here. Bam. There it is. Round and round onto Nosh. What a fight right there. So AV Deemer and Young Eden, after being able to maintain a top 10 position in the game, a victory royale today, it is not going to be enough. They are going to definitely, surely fall after this round is here. So they'll be kicking off tomorrow, possibly somewhere around 12 to 15 place or so, depending on how the other trios do. They're still in it. But man, to give away the last game is going to be a rough one.
It'll be a rough indeed. Brewers team centered a 3rd zone. Tons of materials. Hopefully a lot of damage too. We struggled with that in previous matches. I still have high hopes for the team. I'm telling you. I still have high hopes for them. Mubuga's team. Tons of material still to their name, trying to get that extra leftover loot from the pyramid. Looking awfully stacked, but again, 0 elims to their name. I'm wondering if we're going to see them make another push, another fight, potentially towards the 5th zone. I don't think they need to by any means right now, but just the trend, just the play style. Get yourself stacked before moving zones. You don't need to worry about it. Ooh, but they've seen as D-Roller's team in the bush, they're going to start to hit some of the headshots with the automatic sniper. Storm Surge way over. 70 still alive. Actually been rebooted now, 71. I'm guessing that reboot is Osp's team. If I was... Well, I was going to say if I was to guess. I clearly have guessed. Storm Surge is reactivated again.
Whoa. That's a rarity.
Some players now definitely panicking in the game. 100%. 2 teams thought it was over. The sweat had already been wiped off with the towel.
You know who I think
again.
You know who I think is sweating right now? Cease and Trio, because they were so late coming out the zone. If they managed to figure it out,
that was
that's where it was. Yeah, that's the replay. That's the highlight.
I thought that was
we need. I was gonna say like that. That's the kind of trio that's gonna be under serious issues right now. Teams that were just playing super late here, moving in the final moments, they're gonna be struggling the most here.
You want to know who was below? Figure out the painful team who was man, devastated to find out that Storm Surge was reactivated. 2 teams, players getting rebooted at different times to put them above. There's 2 definitely sad players in this lobby right now just trying to heal off the zone. You hear nothing. No audio going out. It's W. Carey who goes down to Crackly. So Crackly potentially was the player who was below. That's not good for that team as they were really looking good on the leaderboard.
Struggle game there. 1 man being down from the equation. Zlem, TK, and Agerman just kind of vibing. 1,000 damage above the surge here as things start to settle now. Crackley gets the full finish there onto Carey. So the knock was enough. The finish comes through. That trio is going to bounce back. 1 more player still has to go down, though.
We're still seeing active
I don't see the lightning bolt at all. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't see the lightning bolt at all in the distance here. Oh, Fatch is gonna fall too now.
Maybe it was Fatch's team then, yeah. That makes sense. Where would a Fatch's team got their tags on? They weren't getting them on Booga's team. We probably didn't see them getting them on Nexy's team either. They were a late rotator. We saw that too. You know what's so funny is like this the next surge warning's about to repop up. These players haven't had any time to rest.
So we've seen 7th place DJ, Nosh, and Yamzo get taken out. We've seen AV, Deemer, and Edan fall from 9th. We still have our top 6 teams in rotation, in play right now. Slim, Booga, Frisk, all alive right now. Also in different positions here. Booga's team being the most interesting right now. They're outside the zone. They're at the pyramid still. No one's really got focus on them, though, so it seems like things are going to work out for them right now as they're trying to get their move in here. Finally, now they get kind of looked in on. They have to be careful, though. If Jamper and crew see this late rotate here, there's fresh builds. This is a recipe for disaster. They don't have a lot of mats either.
The players looking for them toes, a Booga. Getting some big tags that are actually going to be really important. You roller. Hits him down. Small little things like that just make me chuckle when you see Miro open up the floor, free flopper from the harpoon fished. Back over to Frisk, the team who wasn't first dropped down to 4th. 30 builds to their name and only 10 above Surge. Whilst it's active, this is not good.
Can't believe this is going off again. This is the maximum Surge can be, by the way. 20 players from the previous threshold, so things have really stalled out here in the last game. I think it just goes to prove that, man, these teams really want it. They want it bad right now for the Grand Royale here. The final game of the Grand Royale here for day number 1. Starting to set on these teams here. No! The edit from behind, though. Frisk Visual and Osp. Frisk goes to play for himself here. Doesn't even want to stick around. Osp gets taken out.
Visual's down on low HP. Same with Frisk. He's got plenty of heals. No materials to his name, though. Teammate gets into the box. They got a max distance rotate. Barely enough mass to even box up. 6 more players still need to go down to Surge 2. What a brutal game for the players in this lobby. Honestly, this is probably one of the most difficult mid games we've ever seen. Probably because it's a mid-zone too, but Frisk now getting pushed into the box. The pre-edit play comes through.
The cone.
And the cone placed. It's Users, Justice, and Skills. Users and Justice are Season 7 FNCS champions. No, and Elite, you were right. Elite's team is below the Surge. The late rotation strategy not working out for them at all. 200 below Storm Surge now in the 5th zone. They managed to get 2 elims from it. They are currently our second place team who've managed to claim 9 points in this game so far. But it's not going to be enough. This Surge still being active, it's going to last potentially 20 more seconds, and then the next warning is going to pop up straight away. This is just Storm Surge after Storm Surge after Storm Surge.
Wait a second, though. This is a big find here. So you talked about 20 seconds. He's going to buy himself 10 with the med kit. Arguably the best, healing item you can have for when something like this is going to go down. It buys you so much time. Bandages. Oh, gosh. Are we going to see him clutch this up and just, barely hold on right now?
You can out keep it bandages.
Listen, teams are falling pretty quickly as well. Yeah, so if he does survive this, there's going to be a fair amount of points he can clutch out by himself.
You got to remember also that, when it comes to placement, top 17 will give him 3 more points. He just needs to survive 2 more teams, and he'll gain valuable 3 points, which really, really adds up. So, if you're a solo in this position, that's what you're looking out for. The Storm Surge is now over. Warnings just about to pop up again.
Wow.
Literally the warning's just about to, I should be here.
Hey, but listen, if he can stay alive, top 17, top 16, those are all that placement points he'll be fighting for right now. So this is a big clutch right now coming out of Elite. Also, word is Osp, Visual, and Frisk completely wiped up, by the way. So yes, they got away just a little bit there, but 4th place is now down and out. That leaves Slem, TK, Chucky up at the top, Cease Cold, and Elite. You're watching Elite right now, literally trying to hold on here. Barely hold on. No one's been eliminated, by the way. He has 500 damage below. It's a near impossible mountain to climb right now. Can he just get some points? Can he get some elims? That alone would be huge.
It's the final
30 seconds to do something.
Final game of day number 1. But no, he's been beat with the back. No, he didn't make the threshold, so he wasn't able to do that. I mean, everyone else in the lobby's now gained 3 points, 3 valuable points that he has not. Up in the high ground. Slam's team still in this, actually, the final zone. Looking good on materials so far. Eliminations popping off. They've managed to survive something crazy whilst the Storm Surge still here yet again. Oh,
and they have an absurd amount of points right now. At 171, definitely ahead of the competition. Kanata, Aegis, and Saf trying to claw their way back up into this competition as well, as they are just merely holding on to top 15 as well here. So this is a big game for them to definitely put them in the running for tomorrow, to give them a realistic chance of confidence here coming into day 2, where the double points are going to start kicking in for the Grand Royale now. Kanata's going to find dubs on the high ground too, so things are starting to connect for them. Another flopper found here. There's just loot everywhere right now. They don't even see it though. Too much pressure kicking in.
That's the flopper they fished earlier. May come in absolutely vital for this heal off. 19 below Storm Surge. Again, the players being tagged. Miro, Jukes, and Booga, again, struggling with Surge. They drop below. Now they're 55 above. The Harpoon comes out. The materials now into Miro's inventory. He can tar. He can keep his team in this. The shot's connected from Juke yet again. He's going to have to change layer, change horizontal spacing here. As Miro goes down, Miro is also finished. So it's Booga and Jukes left in this as a duo. 29 up. Surge no longer a problem. But the player's on the wall, and he's going to be picked up as left in Solo Booga, the World Cup Solos champion, to see what he can do. He's been absolutely popping off all day. Game number 2 with 9 eliminations onto his name. If someone's going to do it, it's got to be him.
So far, incredible awareness here and great zone reads. There goes all the layer change, but no, caught in the process there. They were a little too quick on the other side of the wall on high ground. Chucky is up top with TK here. They're fighting for it, and Slem snatches it up from Saf and company. And now look at that. Kanata, Jack goes down, Saf goes down, and just, oh my gosh, a change of events here. How quickly things change on the high ground now as Saf and his trio get just wiped up here. The little bit of confidence they could have built for themselves for tomorrow gets taken up. And Slim is just on a different level. He is not stopping. Give this man the money that he wants because he is coming for it.
They're in first place right now. No one can overtake them coming out of this last game on day number 1. Can they accelerate that lead even more? 3 more points as TK picks up Jamper from up on the high ground. Down to the low, Users team still in this alive. Spegu's still in here. Acorn goes down at the backside of the zone, but up on height, we got to keep our eyes on the winning team from so far. Down low, Slacks with 15 shields to his name, can't pop any. 2 builds the players in his box. He edits them out. He's got to do something. The ramp replace. He hits the 100 shot. The tag down below, the pick up, the full finish to the Siphon coming through at the back of the zone, and it's D-Roller who he picked up.
Big elims here now, and that's going to be a massive and crucial change of events here. Puts him inside the top 3, and now all of a sudden he has barely got anything to work with though. 3 builds here, a solo in the mix now, sandwiched between 2 trios up top. Where he focuses will change the story here now. He's going to go down. He's going to punish down low. That's a 90 tag, but the Siphon gets put back into the hands of Users here. This is a good old-fashioned 3v3. 13 eliminations for Slem, TK, and TNG's Ackerman now. Down they come. It's an all-out gun brawl. It's Slem, TK, and Ackerman pick apart each and every one of them on the low ground, one after the other.
16 elimination victory royale for Chucky, TK, and Slave. I'll say Chucky because they won the game. They connected every single shot that they needed to at the same time, and the settings check to finish things off as well.
Things are crazy there at the very end. My gosh. And, you know, you don't really see an end game finish like that where all 3 come down, shots go off, and no one falls from the winning Victory Royale trio there of TK, Chucky, and Slem. They walk away with a big Victory Royale there in 16 eliminations. My gosh.
They were in first place going into the game with a Victory Royale with 16 eliminations. That leaderboard, look, I know who's coming on top. I know who is currently on top coming into day number 2.
Hey, there's no questions to be asked about that one. From us here, though, at the desk, Monster D-Face and Resub, man, it's been fun bringing you guys the NA East action. This is just the beginning of the Grand Royale. We're going to toss it over to the desk for Zeke and crew to bring us on home.
Slab, Chucky! What the heck is going on? TK, 16 eliminations. This is what you get when now I'm mobile. I can stand, I can jump in and out of frame at will. You're welcome,
Matt.
I've gone mad. Absolutely. This is what happens. Okay, real quick, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is Chucky's name. Chucky, do me a favor. Set your name to your name tomorrow. So when you inevitably potentially win, we're celebrating you as a player and not someone else. Just throwing that out there. 16 eliminations. My goodness. I just want to put that into perspective, right? A lot of people would, maybe new faces to the broadcast could look at this and say, 16 eliminations, Zeke, is that really that impressive? Yes. Typically we see right around 9 eliminations kind of being that, standard, if you will, especially when you're looking at the caliber of players here in these lobbies, Viv. It's 16 eliminations, especially on this last game, to go into double points tomorrow. With 217? They've got a boon.
Can we just look at the elim column real quick? We're seeing 49 elims for these guys, and the second
let me rub my eyes real quick.
30.
Yeah, it's 49.
34.
I'm full sending a
elim difference. And to put it in perspective, as Zeke was trying to do right there, 16 elims. Let's just look at some of these top 10 teams, right? If we look down at 8th place, D-Roller, Spego, and Charlie, they've been playing phenomenal. They've had a couple of pop-off games. They have 20 elims. They've gotten 20 elims in 6 games. TK, Islem, and Ackerman have gotten 16 in just 1. That was absolutely phenomenal. Well done, boys. 217 points in day 1. Congrats.
Yeah, I mean, OSP, Visuals, and Frist were first position 2 games ago. They're now down in 6th, which is something. But 64 points in the lead right now as Lem, TK, and Ackerman as well. This is incredible. I mean, what's amazing is you think about this. The last 3 games, games 4, 5, and 6, 3rd, 4th, and 1st. So such a strong finish today. They had a 6th position as well in game 2. But what a day for this trio. I mean, tomorrow will be doubled, maybe in the kind of almost the 500 region. But Slacks, Acorn, and Jack as well. I want to say a big shout out to these guys. Again, clutching a lot. We saw Acorn there, managing as well to drive the team forward and get those kind of some those end points. Eliminations maybe not there so much, but placement points as well. This is how you got to play. You got to be there or amongst it in the final final circle or two, and they've done that consistently today. That's why they're in second position. That you can see a lot of teams there in contention, the top 10 positions. You can see 11th through 20th here as well. Obviously, we have the likes of Pam, Carey, and Fatch at the bottom of there with 77 points. But you start to work your way up through the top there, and you can see the Cobalt and Spark and Minished as well, who we've talked about a lot today. They had a great start, I think, with their first game with 14 eliminations there. You can see here that throughout the course of the next 5 games, only 14 across 5 games. So didn't quite match up to expectations there, but still, in 11th is still a strong finish at day one. We haven't talked about DGen's trio really at all here, Vivid. DGen, Nosh, and Eoms are there, coming in at 12th position as well.
Yeah, they were playing pretty well throughout the day. I mean, a trio that's surprising to see they're in the 15th place is actually your prediction there, Agers, Saf, and Kanata. Just to remind you that you did predict the team.
Thanks for bringing that up.
15th. Yeah, no problem.
Really glad to
make sure that you remembered. Yeah.
You can have this one. Though, I've had all year. You can have this one.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Same story. Creo Knight and Rogue Shark newly formed trio there. I mean, they're not doing as well as I thought they would. You know, Creo's got a lot of experience. Knight and Rogue Shark have been together forever now. They're still trying to find themselves like a solidified third that they feel like they can vibe out with, and I feel like it just hasn't happened. I feel like the last person they tried, Clarity G, they found some pop-off games and everything like that. But again, no scrims. This is kind of like their first experience really playing as a trio, so never know what can happen going into game 2 with a little bit of homework tonight. Or day 2, not game 2, day 2.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what a lot of our teams will do this evening is kind of going, kind of regrouping, thinking about what's happened today. Obviously, tomorrow's going to be very different. We keep talking about the double points. It's the same thing, but just everything just counts for extra. I think eliminations I mentioned this earlier on, have been so key, particularly obviously our top team with 49 right now, which is massive. You can see here 21st through 30th position as well. Just making sure we kind of feature everyone who's competing throughout the course of Grand Royale here as well. And again, some names that we were not expecting to see here. The likes of Muzz, down in 29th position. This is an FNCS current champion in 29th with Joji and Rokane, which is still a incredibly sizable trio there, but only 10 eliminations, 28 placement points here, only 48 towards the bottom of the table there, next to Knife, Adoni, and Simple as well. But, Voil, except, we can see another Snake in 26th position as well. There's a lot of names in this competition who, you could have expected could have got all the way to the very top, or they could be in this position they are now, but they really need to have a big one tomorrow, which I think we're excited about as well, because if you are, and you touched on this earlier on, if you are in that kind of bottom half of the table right now, go for broke. There's no reason not to. You've seen the prize pool. A few positions can make or break tens of thousands of dollars. So why not? Go all out and try and get as many eliminations as you can, as many points as you can, and change things up. This is the final event of the year. This is a performance. This is your chance to have your magnum opus in front of the world. Just do it. Have some fun, man. Bring some good Fortnite.
I mean, there is $285,000 on the line. And again, just coming in 5th place would net your trio $54,000. I mean, that is ridiculous amount of prize money, right? So I agree with you, Adam. And, another kind of small thing to touch on, of course, is sometimes we look at these trios and they're day 1 performers, right? They do well in day number 1. They try to get ahead of the pack, and then they try and just coast for day number 2. And then we see the other side of that as well. So we'll see. Maybe some of these teams will come out tomorrow. They'll say, we're day 2 teams. We're ready. We're going to take tonight. We're going to VOD review, really look at the mistakes we made and the issues we're having, whether that be rotation, storm surge, whatever, and then say day 2, we're coming back double points. We're going to come back strong, and we're going to aim for that top spot. Now, before we do say goodbye, we're going to touch on predictions just super quick. I know, listen, Adam, I'm sorry preemptively, but, I feel like we're not doing that well either, Vivid, Commandment, and company. Not the greatest. I mean, coming in 7th currently, which it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Saf, Adris, Kanata for Adam is in 15th, so at least we're doing better than him. Let's take a look. Jamper, we got 10th place right there from Reese Hub. And then, of course, Booga and company coming in real strong right now. So in 3rd. So overall, Monster D-Face doing the better of us. But listen, Vivid, you and I are we're gonna see this through to the end, okay? It's to the end. We're gonna end up in the top. Don't even worry about it. Maybe we'll find some way to incorporate Adam. I have power now, so maybe I'll just have production just like change prediction. I don't know yet. We'll figure out tomorrow. Tomorrow Zeke is a different Zeke for a different time. Fortnite fam, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you guys. We love doing this. We love talking through these storylines, the action, and all that. Of course, please give these two incredible gentlemen a follow. Give MDF and Reese a follow. Reese coming over from EU as well. It's late in his time, and he still wants to do this. It's a great time. Don't forget, we have NA West, so 6 more games there. And it's going to be a super short break before we jump back into all the action. So stay tuned, and if not, we'll see you tomorrow for double points and the conclusion of the Grand Royale. So until then, we love you, and we'll see you on that battle bus.
My number one tip for starting out:
make sure that you have fun while playing the game.
Play the game will help improve your game sense, your aim, your fighting skills, your mentality.
Start doing like mechanical training.
Learning how to adapt quickly.
Getting like the mechanics down of like your keybinds and moving around and learning the map, stuff like that.
You have to put a lot of time into learning these new changes as quickly as possible and being ahead of the other players you're competing against.
The main way a player can improve their aim.
There's tons of creative maps that you can hop into that help with your aim training.
There's a lot of creative maps in Fortnite that allow you to practice different styles of aim, so I'd recommend trying those out. You can do close range aim, long range aim, aim for shotguns, aim for sniper rifles, whatever weapon you need to practice with.
There's certain codes you can find, I'm pretty sure on Epic's website of like creative maps you can find.
There are third-party applications for improving your aim, but I also think that the main way to improve your aim is just to play the game.
My best tip to help with building:
spending time in creative, doing editing maps.
There's people who do they tell you where to build, how to build.
In creative, you're by yourself. There's no interruptions. You have infinite materials.
When to build, and you can just learn building and do courses.
Practice those mechanics you've been working on in free play and do it actually against another player, and that's how you improve it quickly.
The most common mistake that I see,
instead of going full out aggressive, W key, like people would say, sometimes it's good to play it a little slower, play for the end game.
People usually blame the game whenever they die.
I used to put my sensitivity on a very high sensitivity that I couldn't control.
People not utilizing right hands. You player can shoot on the right hand side where you can't be seen from the other person. And people do that, they'd win way more fights than they lost.
So how do you know if you're good enough to turn pro? It's a complicated question.
It's very nice that Epic allows us to have leaderboards in-game, and you're going to be able to see your improvement.
When you can see yourself placing highly, especially in the team game modes.
If you're able to make a living out of Fortnite tournaments and competing, then I think you can consider yourself a professional.
You have the opportunity to go pro if you put enough time into it.
I think this season is shaping out to be really good. I think the competitive meta is pretty balanced, and it's more fun to play than last season for sure.
Chapter 1, Season 5, just because there's a lot of new stuff that you could try out and get your advantage on.
Chapter 2, Season 7 was my best season. I placed 4th in Grands, and that was my best Grand Finals placement.
Season 3, as it had the slipstreams and the combat shotgun.
Season 7 with the airplanes, and you could fly around, shoot a couple bullets into the sky and make it like Morse code.
Believer Beach, just because of how much loot and fast metal, brick, and wood there is, and just a lot of good rotation items all surrounded that really helps you set up for a good position for future zones.
It's definitely going to be Tilted Towers. I know it's the fan favorite, but it brings back the memories. You have all the action there, the hot drops.
Salty Springs is my best POI because I've done most of my accomplishments there, and I've just had the best moments and memories from Fortnite.
Is Starks, there's a vault, you can get gold spazzes, gold scars. You get pretty much all the best weapons in the game.
The Stark Mountain. You can just hot drop there, get a bunch of guns, and drop a couple frags.
Legendary pump shotgun.
The gold pump, it's just the most fun weapon.
The Kit's shotgun.
Kit's charge shotgun, just because of how powerful it was from such a far distance.
I'm gonna have to say the hand cannon, because not only is it very effective at destroying builds, but it's also a lot of fun to use.
The quad crasher.
The quad crasher.
The quad crasher, because I remember you could fly in the sky with it, you could go anywhere around the map, and it really brings back some good memories.
Definitely the Stark cars. You could go so fast, and you could actually get to the other side of the map in very short amount of time.
It has to be the IO car, especially if you match it up with the big tires. You're able to go extremely fast on any terrain and rotates towards where you need to go.
World Cup finals.
World Cup, just because of how intense it was. It brought so many different great players from all different regions to come and compete to show which regions were the best and who was truly the best player in the world.
Solo FNCS week 3, I believe, is when I got first, and that was my first tournament win in Fortnite.
The second one row has to be my favorite because I had the most fun, and I played like 3 regions that day.
And I'm gonna have to say PAX West of 2018, I believe. It was the end of the summer skirmish, and I believe it was the best one because it was the first tournament I ever made earnings in. I made it to finals, and I made $5,000, so that was definitely my most memorable and best tournament in Fortnite.
To the left of Steamy Stacks, where it's like a little gas station at the... Yeah, like right around there.
To the left of Steamy Stacks and to the right of Craggy Cliffs, in between on that little hill. Spot on. All right.
All right, so I would place it in between Craggy Cliffs and Steamy Stacks, sort of like on like the IO base that's towards north of the map, right there.
Here, because I think the chance that the next zone pulls to the top right after the previous one does is very high.
I would like to go just a bit left of Corny Crops. Yeah, that's good.
Nice. That's 1 point. That's 1 point.
Oh, I'm right on the edge.
Oh, I was pretty close.
I expected it to be there.
Aw, no way. I was close to being in, but
Oh, looks like I'm in the middle. That's 2 points now. That's another point.
Oh, darn it. It looks like it's very close.
Alright. I guess I don't know my zones too well. I died there. Between Coral Castle and Believer Beach.
North on top of Believer's Beach, a little bit to the right. That's the one.
Towards the left side of Pleasant Park, like right before it hits the water, right there.
On the R in Believer.
towards the spire right next to Believer Beach, to the right of it. Yeah, right there. That's good.
Once again, I already knew I got another point. That's another point. Let's go.
Okay, we're in. We are in it.
Really good spot. I'm pretty confident in this one.
Barely in on the second one. I don't think it's going to be good, but I got 1 point so far.
Oh, I made it in. Let's go.
I think I'm gonna get it all. I think I'm gonna win it all.
No, it falls far again, just on the corner. You have to be kidding me.
Oh, no way that it pulls towards Coral like that.
Darn, I'm out again.
Oh my gosh.
That's 3 for 3 right there. That's 3 for 3. I'll take it. Above Slurpee, there's like the orange spot, like at the bottom of the orange. Yeah, I'm good there.
So I'm going to put my marker for this final round that I need to clutch it up in on a little bit to the right, or of the, you know what? Pretty much directly on the P of Sludgy Swamp. Beautiful. All right.
I would put it towards the bottom of Weeping, right there.
A little bit below Slurpee in Slurpee Swamp.
I'm gonna place mine right about on Slurpee. It's perfect.
Oh, that is a close call, but that's 1 point. It's a very close call, but I'm 1 point. 1 point in.
Okay.
Again, pretty confident with this one.
I barely got it again, just like my other second zones.
I got this one, but it's not good for the next ones.
Unfortunately, I did not make it to the next one. That's all good. 1 point is 1 point. It's all good.
Oh, okay. See, my strategy never fails. It's the 1, 2, 3.
Dang, no way.
Yeah, dude, I was so close.
Aw, no way. I'm like very on edge of it too.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on, Fortnite fam? It's great to be back. We just got done with EU. We just got done with NA East. And now we get to do it one more time today in NA West. Welcome to the FNCS Grand Royale, the last official broadcasted tournament of 2021. It's your boy, Zeke. If you've never seen my face before, what's going on? I'm happy you're here. If you've never seen Fortnite, you have picked probably the best time to tune into a Fortnite broadcast ever, because you're about to see some crazy Fortnite action like you've never even believed that you could see. Now, of course, it's a little lonely here. I can't do this alone. I need some friends. So I've got two people with me. It's Kelly and it's Panda. That's right. They'll be our analysts here between games. They're absolutely incredible. If you're not following them, you should be. Kelly, Panda, say hello. It's Grand Royale time.
What is up, Fortnite fam? So excited to be here. I feel like I just saw you guys not too long ago during the hype hour, which, I mean, how could you not be hype right now after all those incredible announcements? So excited that we get to end off the entire 2021 year with this, the Grand Royale. I even heard other casters and analysts saying we can finally call it the Grand Finals, Panda.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be exciting. Obviously, coming off the hype hour yesterday, I'm pumped. I'm so excited. We got a great year ahead of us, and this is the best way to wrap up the year. It's the Grand Royale, and it's the final time we're going to see some of these mega powerhouse teams come together and battle it out.
Yeah, I mean, once again, we thought Chapter 2 Season 8 would be the great shakeup of trios, but again, we're seeing it one more time. We'll get to that in a second first. If, once again, I like to say this always, if you guys are following us, you know this format, and this is not for you. This is for you new faces out there to the broadcast. So check this out. 2 days of competition today, tomorrow. We have 12 games total. We have 6 today, the next 6 tomorrow. This is going to be trios going head-to-head, but check this out. Day number 2, double points. So let's show you the format. This is the format we've been running all year long. So 30 points for the Victory Royale. Points all the way down to 24th, and every elimination is worth 2 points. So again, you're probably like, okay, if this is the format we've been running all year long, what's double points look like? I got you covered. Literally just take every spot and multiply by 2. There you go. It's super simple. Kelly, what I'm super excited about, and I've already seen this in EU, NA East, and now I'm going to see this in NA West again, is trios preparing themselves after day number 1, right? Making sure they earn themselves enough, like of a spot, a nest egg, if you will, enough of a cushion or barrier to say, like, okay, we've got points. We got to go into day number 2 with double points. We have to make sure we set ourselves up for success. How are you feeling about the double point format?
Well, if you think of it mathematically, and I believe actually Sundown was talking about this earlier, is that day 1 is kind of 1/3 of the competition, with day 2 being 2/3 of the competition there. So although it does give you a nice little nest egg, as you said, they do really need to look to day 2 as obviously the more important day. That's double the points there. But out of all these teams that we have, who does better on the second day? Well, unfortunately, it's kind of hard to say, because almost all of the teams that we saw in our top for the Season 8 are no longer a full trio anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's correct. Even when you talk about Rex, Arkham, and Epic Whale, they're not together. They won so many FNCSs together, but they decided to split. So now instead of Rex, they have Reet. So many huge changes to the trios. It's going to be super interesting to see how all of it unfolds here, because again, this is a fresh, unique take to trios that we haven't seen on the West Coast, because this has been the first massive shakeup here on the region.
We're going to touch on these trios in just a minute. First, really quickly, let's see what's on the line here. $105,000. That's right. But the trio that walks away in that number 1 spot. But as I will always tell you viewers, some of you that have been with us all day long, you've already heard me say this twice. Even if you don't come first, it's okay to say make it in the top 5, right? If you could go from like 33rd to 5th, look at the difference in prize money there, right? This is the Grand Royale, baby. This is life-changing amount of money. So all these trios will absolutely be looking to place as high as possible. Now, of course, if you can walk away the winner, dope. But otherwise, you're still looking to climb as high as you possibly can. Okay, let's talk about these trios. So you guys already know about the duos for next year. So this is the last time we'll be seeing trios. So let's kind of talk about this and break this down. Rex, Epic Whale, and Arkham, this trio that has been dominant literally all year long, right? If you've heard about Fortnite, I'm sure you've heard about this trio. Well, now they're changing things up. They're actually duoing with Reet. So Arkham and Reet. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you about the next trio we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about these kind of like at the same time. Rex, Snacky, Favs, right? So the other trio that finally dethroned them, now they've said, like, okay, we're just going to pull one of these numbers, and now we're just going to change up one person. Kelly, this feels like a dynasty. That's what this feels like. This feels like a power move. Hey, we've been dominant at the top. Hey, this other trio just finally beat us. Why don't we just send one of ours over there, and then we'll just own the top 2 spots always? That's what this feels like.
I'm a little confused by the decision here. Obviously, when you've been so strong for so long, winning 4 seasons back to back to back, such as Arcrum, Rex, and Epic Whale have done, they see they obviously see that they're beaten. But by the way, they were beaten by a lot. They were beaten by, I think, 15 points. They already got second place anyway, which is a great performance, the most consistent performance that we've seen out of all 3 major regions ever. So I'm a little confused why they would do that. Reet, I think, worked really well with Snacky and Fav specifically because he's so aggressive. But to have him join Epic Whale and Arcrum, where instead Rex is now joining Snacky and Favs, I personally think that they're actually the weaker team out of the 2.
You know what? This is interesting.
I like this.
Right? Because, again, Reet is a powerhouse player. We know him well. We've seen him do incredible things on multiple regions, right? But when you throw Rex in the dynamic of Snacky and Favs, that's also extremely unique too, because again, the role that Snacky and Favs were missing in season 7 and before was that top tier fragger, and Rex fills that role just like Reet did. So it really boils down to who will be able to come out on top and who will be able to formulate a better game plan based on where they're going to be, because we just saw the POIs there, Believer Beach, and a bit of a split there for Snacky, Favs, and Rex. So it's going to be very unique take here for these teams. But will we see an upset of the champs, or will Kelly have something else to say?
Well, who is the champs? Is it Epic Whale and Arcrum now? Because technically Snacky and Favs are 2 out of the 3 first place teams from the last game. So wouldn't it be argued to say that they're kind of the champs now? Obviously, when you look at longevity, you look to Arcrum, Rex, and Epic Whale. But to me, although I will say that the synergy is there for Epic Whale, Arcrum, and Reet, anytime that there was 4-mans, squad tournaments for third parties, they would always pick up Reet, and it would be those 4 together. So there definitely is synergy there. But I truly think that Rex, like you said, being that powerhouse, but more contained, because where Snacky, Favs, and Reet fell short in Season 8 was that over-aggression. We constantly saw Reet getting kind of pulled out as a solo a lot of times and then going down where Snacky and Favs would have to save them. Can Epic Whale and Arcrum do that for Reet the way that Snacky and Favs was? And with Rex stepping in now as the fragger, and he's way more safe than Reet, I think that this is probably the most even competition that we've seen in NA West.
I love it. I love it. You can tell we've used a lot of time to talk about these trios because it's weird. It's strange. It's a dynasty forming. We'll see. But we're going to quickly move through because we have a few things we want to talk about before we can get into these games. Let's switch gears. Falconer, Cadenox, 4DR Storm, another trio we've heard quite a lot about. Talk to me about this trio, friends.
I mean, they're a great team. Obviously, Falconer, Cadenox, and 40R Storm on their own right are all incredible players where they've constantly made it into the finals for a lot of FNCSs. And in fact, Falconer has played with both 40R and Cadenox separately plenty of times in trios and other competitions. But this is the first time that they're all playing together. I think the first time that they actually played together as a trio was the Trios Cash Cup just about 2 weeks ago. So they're a pretty new team. And obviously, synergy is very important, but individually, all incredible players.
Yeah, I mean, Kelly said it best. They are incredible players coming together here in these moments, and they have a lot of potential. That's why we wanted to talk about them here in the beginning of the show.
Okay, I like it. Quick. Let's go quick once more. Symmetrical, Temple B, and Wavy Jacob. Let's check out their drop spot, and let's quickly touch on this trio. Why should we be keeping our eyes on them?
Well, they placed 3rd in Season 8, so that's a pretty good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and they were one of the only teams, or the only team that was challenging Reet, Snacky, and Favs the entire way through Season 8. You have to remember, Arcrum, Rex, and Epic Whale came back very late in the competition, but Symmetrical, Wavy Jacob, they were there. They were on the heels of Reet and Co. the entire time to take that top 3 spot. So, I mean, respect to them, and they do have a lot of potential today.
I love it. Let's do my favorite part. Let's use the Telestrator, baby. Let's talk about a few POIs. I got 2 for you. We're going to kick things off with Caddy Corner. We have Falconer versus Godku going head-to-head at Caddy Corner. We already know this is a problem POI, right? People love to fight over Caddy Corner. The claws come out, and inevitably one team will fall. But the question is, who will fall, Kelly? Is it Falconer's trio, or is it Godku's trio?
So 40R, although he wasn't playing with Falconer and Cadenox last season, did actually land in Caddy Corner in Season 8. He was contested by Aiden. There was a lot of... they didn't really do well individually either, so I'm not too certain. But Falconer definitely has the experience here, Panda.
Well, especially with a POI like this, it's so hard to split this area between the gas station and the main building. It's a little bit different, obviously, when you utilize weather station, but here you only have main building and gas station. So to split these two areas is very, very difficult for two teams to come out successfully. So it's going to be tough to see who ends up coming out on top. But if they do begin to fight here and they take these engagements, they need to do it quickly, they need to loot quickly, and they need to rotate.
Absolutely, and I love just kind of like those squares, right? Kind of indicating these are one of the few areas that you can kind of occupy, right, as a trio. And then there's only one other spot, right? So your trio's going to pick one, their trio's going to pick one, and you're going to battle it out and see who walks away. Last POI, we're going to talk about Steamy Stacks. We got Quinn versus Dragon. So similar situation and similar question here, Kelly. I mean, I personally don't know too much about Dragon, but I feel like Quinn and company have been performing very, very well, right? So I feel like this should go to Quinn, but I'm excited to see from Dragon.
So, Quinn, Wave, and Cool did land Steamy Stacks in Season 8, uncontested, and they placed 18th. Now, to be fair, Corny Crops, there was Reet's team, which is the team that won, and obviously a lot of those rotations do go towards the center and even south zones, so they always kind of had to face them or face a lot of other teams. The Northeast region was so congested. The fact that they're now being contested by a newer team definitely is going to be putting some pressure on them, Panda.
Yeah, I could agree more. And Steamy Stacks is probably the most or one of the most difficult POIs to make work for you when you are contested, because there are so many locations that you can loot, but they're kind of spread out, right? So you can either take that right side with that one building with your whole team, or you can have the better advantage, take the left side with multiple buildings. But either way, there's a lot of areas around this that people rotate from and begin to contest. So it's very, very difficult when you're contested here to come out on top. We'll see how these players end up doing. But honestly, if I'm going to have to pick one between the two, I think Quinn, the veteran in that space, understands Steamy Stacks probably a little bit better than the other team. So Quinn, Wave, Cool, I think they're going to come out on top.
Yeah, I'm excited just to see kind of like them being pitted against another trio that's going to contest them, right? I want to see if they've taken this experience they've gained and if they can put that to use, right? But we'll find out over the next 2 days. So let's really quickly talk about predictions. We've got about 2 minutes before we jump aboard the battle bus. So let's talk through the trios we think could walk away your overall winners. So for the first time in NA West, Kelly is by herself in predictions. I get my own prediction, and it looks like it's all of us versus Kelly.
Listen.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I'm listening.
If you look at these two teams right here, clearly these are the two best teams in NA West, to the point where when one player leaves, the other player from the other team moves over to them because they want to be with the best team. But Snacky, Favs, and Rex, not only Snacky and Favs walked away first place out of Season 8, beating out Epic Whale and Arcrim, not only was Reet the more volatile, risky player to have on their team, which is no longer there, but they also got first place in the load session for this tournament. So, yeah, man, I'm going to go for them.
And what I'll say real quick, and this is what it boils down to. Snacky and Favs, they're at an all-time high right now. They're at the best peak performance we've seen from them as players. It really boils down to how Rex steps up to the plate and fills that role. Rex had a bit of a lackluster performance in the Season 8 FNCS, and it kind of was part of the resulting factor in why they didn't take the top spot there in that season. So for me, that's why I just didn't have enough faith in Rex in that moment. However, there is still potential. I respect Kelly's decision there. Normally, obviously, we go back and forth, but this time I can respect her in going with that pick for sure.
A lot of times when you look at Reet, you go like, oh, that's the team that's going to have the most amount of eliminations. They only got 68 eliminations. Yes, only 7 games played in the load session. But Rex, Snacky, and Favs had 100 eliminations. In fact, one of those games that you got 16th place, and they still got 17 eliminations. So they're not running into Storm Surge issues, which is something that Epic Whale and Arcrim over in Believer Beach constantly run into. So, yeah, it's going to be Rex, Snacky, and Favs. I'm calling it right now.
Production, let's have a backup graphic ready to go to change mine to Kelly's prediction if things go wrong. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. The battle bus beep beep. Fortnite fam, you can tell this is a very difficult conversation, right? There's two opposing trios that really could go either way, but it's time to kick off the competition. We got two casters for you. It's Clay, it's Sundown, and we've got games. Friends, over to you.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Kelly, and Panda. And what's up, Fortnite fam? My name's Sundown, joined by Clay Stelling to close out the action here over in NA West for the Grand Royale. Clay, how are you doing today?
Oh, I am so excited after watching those games, the setup for tomorrow for a lot of these regions, and that double point day. Ooh, I cannot wait to see what NA West brings. And of course, that shakeup at the top. Got to keep our eyes on that to see how it sets up these duos going forward.
Yeah, it's all about the two Titans switching up, swapping a member over, and what will happen up there as we drop into match number 1 here in the Grand Royale. Don't forget, we will be playing 12 matches total, but the pacing in terms of the points is going to be a little bit different. As we hop into game number 1, we got Falconer in the top right-hand corner, Godvro in the bottom right-hand corner, and a nice, pretty much right down the middle bus path from north to south to get us started.
And interestingly enough, we see someone going for that pyramid drop. I like to see someone going for it. We didn't really see it last season with the last season of the FNCS with it just being the convergence, but now a little bit more. Wheels already going down. Falconer going to be the one. Again, they are going to be contested. We knew this coming into it. We know that they are going to be good to go, but are they going to be able to get any loot? They both landed on top of each other. They're all in the same area. K-Nox going to go down. 40R does have chug slashes so he can get back up, but that immediate loss of K-Nox is going to be so bad.
Yeah, it's really tough when you end up down a member in what we talk about sometimes as a coin flip fight, but a lot of it depends on what weapons drop where and how you're able to make the push. And 40R Storm really doesn't get the benefit out of anything there. He'll be able to back up and at least pick up a pump, so now he can fight defensively. But with just the SMG, no first shot accuracy, and not a ton to really put pressure on these players who are just standing out in the open, you can't really abuse the fact that they have no builds. Falconer now going down, and it's all going to be on the veteran. There's just nothing to be done there. Even a little bit of an L dance thrown out there by Fikoi as he picks up all 3 eliminations. That's 6 points for him there.
A little bit of insult to injury there. They say, I got you down to take the L as well. Love to see just a little bit of back and forth there. We know that's going to continue throughout the rest of the 11 games. I'm sure we'll see an L dance from the opposite team once or twice. As we move over to Craggy Cliffs, we've got Izo and company looking to use some of these newer weapons this season to their advantage. That beautiful sniper rifle is so powerful, so big, and just so good at quick damage, but you have to be good at hitting your shots. In the meantime, we see Rich Homie Quinn going down. Panda talked about how they were his pick to win, but unfortunately right now, out of that drop spot rather, unfortunately now going down a little bit earlier.
And you can see the situation, a little bit of an awkward standoff. Craggy Cliffs, particularly when you are contested. And this north to south split is really weird because there is a natural high ground. But as you can see, Naru showing there's like no materials on the northern part of Craggy that you can farm up even remotely quickly. Like you're stuck hitting walls, which give you like +3 and +4 brick going through. As you can see, they're going to hit the bed and get like 2 more builds. And that's about the most efficient you can get. But he's going to be able to get a drop and he makes it pay. That's 75 damage going over real quick. That feels good.
That's a great find there. Just being aware and paying attention will get you a lot of damage sometimes. And didn't use a lot of ammo as well. You notice they don't have a lot, so he's being very careful. Here we go, a little bit. Used about 6 bullets there, got 50 damage. That player not even healing up. You can tell they didn't have the real HP to do it. They will pop some bandages so they can get back up, but other than that, they're going to be right back down over to 75 effective HP as pushes come through. Olaf up above. Chicken Itza has a little bit of solace for now. They've got a little bit of comfort, but they're really running out of time here.
And Chichen Itza is a play on words for Chichen Itza. It is a Central American temple of worship from the Aztecs. So a nice little history fact being thrown in here. But honestly, each one of these trios is trying to avoid being history in match number 1 because the situation is so tense. And if you take a look in the bottom right-hand corner, Narus luckily kind of smells that one out, checks over the horizon. He says, we got a little bit of company. So he takes some tags. They are going to be able to get some minis here from that vending machine. That's huge for them.
It really, really is that the disengage Northward will give them those shield barrels, but Elise is going to be the only one there. This is unfortunate. Elise doesn't get this elimination quickly, and that's where the 2v1 is going to punish him. He's in the same box. He's got a little bit of time, though. The third party from the hill is going to save a lot of these players. They're going to have to back out total for every member of the team there. They're trying to get together. Either side of this gets really awkward really quickly because Zone is coming in, the team from above as well. And now all of a sudden you have way too many variables in this equation, and you don't really know if you're going to be able to make it out.
There's a launch pad on Olaf if they do want to try and get out of dodge, but don't forget, like, there's no way to really cover it off efficiently. Like, if a trio's coming in after you, they're going to be able to close it, and you can see Sauka, Defiable, and Kaboo just doing a little creeping, little crawling, trying to find an angle here. They know they want to get the drop here. The thing is, if they're not able to really get the first shot, I'm not sure they've identified the fact there's still another team to the north. They should know that there was at least more than one team here based off their scout dropping in. And that's going to make the smart decision, just kind of back up, grab that nice little whip, and they should continue on the rotation.
Should be great for them. If they get out in time, they can kind of gatekeep a lot of these trios. Eyes are already moving as we move over. Arkham, Epic Whale, and Reet this time around. Again, Rex does feel that, or Reet fills that same role as Rex. Rex fills the same role as Reet, whichever way you want to word it. But it's that chemistry and synergy, and it's not like Reet hasn't played with these people before as well. Right? I mean, they've played together. They have dominated West together in many different areas of competition, but do they have the synergy to keep it together this entire tournament? Do they have enough experience together to do it? Maybe. But I don't know.
Well, I'd say one of the key factors here, right, and they've talked about it publicly, was Rex wasn't necessarily playing the game as much as Epic Whale and Arkham would have liked, and I don't think you will ever say the same about Reet. Reet plays in literally everything. Like, Reet's like, oh, OCE Cash Cup in 2.5 hours? Yeah, no problem. I'll stay on. Play some creative until then. Like, he will literally play in absolutely everything. When you talk about these guys at least having chemistry, I mean, they've played in West Cups, they've played in East, they've played on Europe, they've played in Asia, they've won money, I think, in pretty much every single one of those except Europe, and maybe there was one outlier circumstance. I know Reet qualified for at least one final all the way over in EU. So, but now flipping on over, we can see Kytrek's under a little bit of pressure here. That's Nitrix who's going to be able to get the pickup here. Cash, Porker, and Nate trying to get the pressure around the outside. As we've seen so far, only 2 trios have gone down. You can see that in the top left-hand corner of your screen. We do still have 6 other players who have been taken out, pardon me, as we are down to 89. You can see here Nate trying to get up on the wall, trying to own whatever pieces he can around the side, but doesn't necessarily want to get caught out. And this is, again, we talk about awkward fights. Keep an eye on the bottom right-hand corner right outside of Weeping Woods, and there's another team who's just kind of staring, waiting to see how far this fight devolves down.
And for Goldfish, or Gold Cash, Nate, and Mystery, they did notice them. They do see them. They are aware. But Nitrix, Kytrex, and Baka don't. They don't know that's a team lurking up above. Jelty, Krizix gonna base up on top of that bush. Another team coming nearby. They've got to be careful. They've invested a lot. Look at the hard mats that were used now, even more from Nitrix and Kytrex trying to make their way away. Wavy Jacob, on the other hand, seems to be chilling. Is just sitting, farming some extra wood for Temple, Symmetrical, and himself. And no one seems to be a threat for them.
Yeah, and kind of keeping an eye in that top left-hand corner, that 89 we were just talking about. Jump back up to 91. Those are the reboots that NA West tends to favor. I mean, it came a little out of favor in the last FNCS because there weren't necessarily the opportunities due to how the elimination curves work, but no surprise here in the Grand Royale that teams are going to find a little bit more room, particularly in these first games where it's just going to be poking and prodding because it's not necessarily the same as those regular FNCS lineups. It's not the same type of teams you see. There's a couple players who've been able to sneak in because they are better at winning those matches. And I mean, we kind of talked about it, particularly tomorrow when the points are doubled. Like this part of the competition, these first 6 matches are effectively 1/3 of the available points. So despite the fact that we're playing half of the available games today, only 1/3 of the available points will be coming through. So those teams who have the ability to like grab a victory royale, all of a sudden the 30 points turning into 60 points just from those placements makes a huge difference. So today is largely about stage and kind of knowing where you're going to stand, and then tomorrow is what's going to be the big push.
Yeah, that setup for and honestly, tomorrow it'll be like the opposite of a shooting. I don't know what the opposite of a shooting is, but that's where people will start to break away if they're having a great set of games. If they come out hot and they end hot, and then tomorrow they do the same. I mean, there's just not really going to be a chance to catch them. You don't really have the opportunity with how the point format works out. As we get a nice view of what's happening here, Jelty and Krizix up top, and we move over to 2/3 of the previous champions, Favs, Snacky, and now Rex joining them. The amount of titles, of FNCS titles on this trio now, as well as Arkham Rex and Epic Whale, or rather Arkham Re and Epic Whale, my apologies there. And it's just insane to see.
Yeah, I mean, we've always talked about the very top part of the West being loaded. I like particularly the exchanges and the fact that it's been so close to the 1-2 punch. Snacky and Favs, when they had Kenshi as well before, they're always right towards the top. I think it was 2 second-place finishes in a row there before they're finally able to add Reed and kind of push over. And again, it was only really done right towards the end. Don't forget, like, Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex put on an absurd performance, the best day 2 performance ever. Like, they broke all